way and the truth and the life, and no man comes to the Father but through him. Amen. I've noticed that there's a bit of a trend at the moment where mixed martial artists are saying that they know Jesus. Now, Jesus does not glorify violence. He does not promote violence. These men are being pummeled. God knows what damage has been done to them when they're taking shots like this. They need Jesus. But how can they know Jesus and obey his commands if they're still beating each other up for money? You see, what the world is doing is the world is preparing people through media for the worship of the beast or the abomination of desolation that will be seated in the holy place, even calling himself God, so that they can deceive people into worshipping the beast. They did it in the Catholic Church. Except now what they're trying to do is give it a worldwide appeal to encourage the uptake of faith in Jesus Christ worldwide. But why? Because they're offering a false Christ. And even if they say, here he is here in the inner rooms, don't believe them. So they will try to fake a second coming. That's what we can deduce from that. So the preparatory work is being done. What would be the point if you weren't even aware of who's coming a second time? How would you be fooled by it? They have to tell you about Jesus first to fool you into believing he has come already, second time. They're liars. And they will use any platform to flog an idea. Any platform. Remember, America's founded on the idea that you can sell your wares at the side of the street. Well, the wares they sell are deceptions. America was about a dream for your soul. The big sleeping country. Everybody's asleep and dreaming. It's costing them their souls. Well, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. People ask me, why do I look out the window? You're either making a video or looking out the window. Sometimes it helps me think. The sun is shining in the window. I'm naturally attracted towards it. I have a beautiful orchid in the window. So I'll show you why I'm looking at the window. So it's partially why. With a little arrangement of succulents there. See? Many cars passing by and they're making a sound so they can draw my attention. Here's the lovely orchid. I don't really want to continue to look at myself in this all the time. There is a deception being offered the world. And that deception is that the world is actually presenting Jesus Christ. The world is opposed to Jesus Christ completely and utterly in everything that it teaches. And that's not going to change. The Roman Catholic Church is the Antichrist church. That's why it produced pedophiles. That's why the nuns were murdering and are still trying to encourage the murder of the unborn in this new maternity hospital move where they're saying, oh, we'll gift it to you. Oh, the nuns will gift us the place where babies are killed. What a surprise. Sure, weren't they doing it a generation ago themselves? Isn't there tell of that? Big incinerators. Where do you think the babies go after they're aborted? I'd say a variety of places. For different uses. Some unspeakable. It's worship of demons, and the nuns are on the front line. They're collecting the sacrifice and facilitating it, therefore. They're lighting the bonfire, telling you you need it. They're trying to create the demand by creating the delay or a perception of a delay. The nuns, well, that doesn't offend this feministic approach to excluding the opinions of men, complaining about a patriarchal society. Sure, isn't it the female Cian Corla who's promoting this? I watched a grown woman make very little sense, who's supposed to be in a position of knowing, of learnedness. There were times throughout when she was speaking, her head was in her hand. And she wasn't making much sense at all for the majority of what she was saying. And it wasn't like because it was so learned and so specialized in her field that only one of her learnedness could understand or comprehend. It was gibberish for a lot of it. And that was all leading you to the nuns gave us the hospital there, so it's public property. No, it's not. If something is state-owned, it's public. Now, it might have a private function that's different in that certain specific clientele have access to that part of the building while something is taking place because they're the ones qualified to run it. That's different. Like you can have a public toilet, but you're not allowed into the cubicle when somebody's using it. That wouldn't be considered proper order. But that's different. It's still a public toilet owned by the public, collectively. And that makes it a state run and organised toilet. But it's still public property. So don't make this mistake. Don't let the nuns or the Cian Corla pull the wool over your eyes on this one. And I say that Cian Corla dubiously because I don't see that she has the best interests of this nation in her heart. The Catholic Church and anything to do with it is Satan. That has been proven historically, generationally. They've initiated wars against relatively peacefully living societies to implement and build infrastructures that are conducive to the collection of demonic worship in the form of the Catholic Church. They would convert people by force. There's a Jesuit oath that is hideous and vile, talking about crushing the heads of people. This is the military wing of the military wing of the Catholic Church, the Jesuit order. And some of these men are very learned men. 13 years worth of education to become a Jesuit. And then they're the Pope, and they're the Black Pope, which is the Jesuit Pope. An apt name. Because everything to do with the Catholic Church is black. Its past, its present, and its future. Because a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. The nuns are just an extension of that corruption. And it has fit the rhetoric, the narrative, the bill, for the nuns to be this great feminist friend who provide a hospital for you. Ah, not the patriarchalness of it. Where do the nuns get money? How do the nuns get money? Is it only women that give the nuns money? What an utter nonsense, folks. Society is a collective of males and females. Satan is the divisive force that tries to divide people, and so opportunistically he'll try to divide sexes so that he can create this barrier, this facade, and that's room for him to maneuver. And then he'll exploit any opportunity. Oh, well, it's a patriarchal society. Oh, well, the nuns are female. Did you know the nuns are female? So that means that they're excluded from thinking that society is patriarchal. How? Because they don't have penises. Do you think that because somebody is female that they don't believe in a patriarchal society? Nuns, by way of being nuns, submit to a patriarchal society. They're called priests. But they're satanic priests. So you have been hoodwinked on this one. And of course the female, Count Corla, is going to be the one rolling it out. Of course she's going to be rolling that cart out like Molly Malone. Of course. Who else? The Pope? Or a nun? I wonder, was the Count Corla educated by nuns? Wake up, folks. These are circles within circles. These are witches and wizards. This is the satanic church organizing a eugenicist operation, and eugenics is all about demon worship and population control. They call it the self-evolution of mankind. Now, a nice way of saying we slaughter babies. And trick you into believing that we're doing you a favour. They're fork-tongued, smooth-talking, silver-tongued devils. And they are trying to bring about the building of a church, or sorry, of a hospital with absolute babble speak. It's nothing but babble to say that a hospital that is gifted by the nuns is a public hospital. How so? What percentage of that hospital do you own? Ah, no, come on, you're being ridiculous now. How could everybody in the country can't own a percentage of that? Sure, what would they have? Isn't that the point? Something that's state-run is public, because the public give the state its money and its power. Where else would you think the state get their money? It's the people that give the state its power. Therefore, anything the state owns is public property. Something becomes private when it's privately owned by an individual or individuals. So it's publicly owned. So the public own it now. Can you go into the hospital anytime you want? Oh no, come on, you're being ridiculous. It has to be organised. You have to run it like a hospital. Yes. But you're saying it's publicly owned. Who owns it? Whose name is on the deed? Something when it's state owned is public owned. They've just spouted a nonsense in an aptitude of an office of state that's so glaring that it just shows that they can't be that ignorant on these matters. So it's disingenuous. How can somebody in government for so long as the Count Corla utter such nonsense? How? Oh, patriarchal society. Is the Pope a patriarch? Where do the nuns get their money? matron, the matriarch, she's female. Where does she get her money? Society is patriarchal by nature. It's patriarchal. Men are the stronger sex, generally speaking. They're the head of the family, the head of the woman. All of this Girls Run the World was to bring about this upside down inversion of what the Bible teaches. And it's no surprise that the Catholic Church is coming alongside that rhetoric. Why? Because they want you sitting back on their benches. Now in fairness, we know they raped the babies and killed them and burned them in incinerators, but in fairness, now they're doing it in hospitals and paying for it. They gave us a hospital. Nuns don't have any money apart from what the tax collector collects, and that comes out of your pocket. They don't gift you a cent. What are they doing? Foot and turf? No. So where are they getting their money? In baskets. One basket or another. That's where they get their money. They gifted you nothing. It takes something from you to give you the facade that they're giving you something. Let's get real, folks. The state-owned property is public property. When it's owned by individuals, it becomes private property, and that's what they're hoping, that they can operate that facility as a private property, excluding those who would be opposed to it. Do you think the hospital will have security? Who will they stop going in and out? Do you think they'll allow protesters in to the public facility to set up their petitions? They say, we don't agree with what's going on here. Do you think they'll let them sit down on the curb peacefully and protest? If they're actually intending to murder babies there? Or do you think they'll say, no, sorry, you can't come onto this facility? Will it remain public for that function? If something is state-owned, it's public property. They've tried to create the facade that if it's state-owned, it's not public. Oh, it's public. The Coombe Hospital is a public facility, owned by the public, run by those who are in office, voted in by the public. They're paid by the public and put there by the public. The thing is, when they get there, they start doing this and this. Why? Because they work for Satan, and they're trying to serve their witches' coven. And who runs these? The patriarchs. And I just had a demon-possessed woman pass the window doing this. Because what's she doing? She's trying to infer, the demon working in her, that the spirit I'm operating in is one of their kingdom. No, this is called righteous indignation. It's not this. That serpentine head. No, it's not that. But we will expose it. We'd say, that's what they would have it. That's called square standing. So they stand on the square that's closest, looks closest to the way you're behaving, so that they can make their accusation against you. Because they do what they see their father, the devil, doing, and that is accuse the brethren both day and night. And if you're not aware that demons are operating in people, you need to wake up. And this is the time to wake up. Because what if you don't get tomorrow? You're going to wake up burning in hell. Do you think those demons will be soothing you there? Oh, it's okay. No. No, they're tormentors. So, don't believe the lie. Nuns don't have any private money to gift you. The money they collect comes from the public. Why would they be collecting money from the public to put into private accounts? Have you ever considered that? Aren't they supposed to serve the public? How can they give anything to the public they're supposed to serve and that they get their funding from? Do you think that the Vatican has some source of money that's other than the public? If they do, doesn't that suggest that they're corrupt? That they're a criminal organization? Doesn't it suggest that they must be printing money? Where are they getting their money? Is it just numbers on the computer screen? That'd be handy, wouldn't it? Isn't that what the Rothschilds are all about? Centralizing the banks? Do you know that even the credit union is regulated by the central bank now? That's the Rothschilds. That's Satan's lapdogs. They've corrupted the monetary system all throughout the earth. And centralized regulation and control of it. A country's wealth used to be determined by the amount of gold it had. How much gold does Ireland have? So who owns Ireland now? The Irish? Why aren't we seeing that then? Why do they treat us like morons? Telling us that something that is already, by nature of it being a state-run thing, is public property. If it's state-run, it's public. If it's state-owned, that means it's publicly owned. Privately owned means, say for example, I owned a hospital. That would be privately owned by me. But something that's state-owned is publicly owned. Why? Because the state gets its funding from the public, and therefore everything the state has is the public's. To suggest that there's another form of public ownership would imply that it's privately owned by every individual born into the nation of Ireland, and that every member of the public would have a percentage of that in perpetuity and every time one is born. That's a nonsense that a Ceann Comhairle shouldn't be uttering, because she should know better. And that would also have to include anybody who's visiting Ireland, because they would be considered public as well, and are afforded many of the rights and all of the fundamental rights that an Irish person has. A Ceann Comhairle uttering that nuns gifting something to the public? How does that work? So the nuns are now gifting something to the state? Why are the nuns required in this at all? Well, the land and there's another patch of land in Green Area that they can build a church or build a hospital on, so women can birth their children. What do they take us for? First of all, killing babies is against the law in this country, because it's an imprescriptible right to life they have. So it's no surprise that murderous nuns are trying to give the impression that they can, in a patriarchal way, give money or gift land or whatever it is to the public. They don't have anything to give. The public own everything they have. And if the public don't own everything they have, what are they doing? How can the nuns have their own money when everything they have is gifted by the public, and they're always claiming they need more money from the public? If they need money to give to charity, why do they have money sitting in accounts? the woven basket comes out with the shaky hand. Oh, the charity. Now we need the nuns' charity in green era for a bit of grass to build something on. Are people that ignorant nowadays that they don't even know the basics? Have you been so deceived, or are that many of you part of it? Witches and wizards yourselves, or sons and daughters of. Wake up. The Catholic Church is basically a mob. It's a mob. It's a criminal organization, a satanic organization masquerading as Christianity. They don't obey the Bible. They've been shown to be paedophiles and murderers. And now we need their stinking money to build a hospital. The ones who are incinerating their babies now want to fund the decapitation and dismemberment of them. How are they doing that? When's the last time somebody was in their church? Where are they getting the money for this? Wake up, folks. Wake up.